Good afternoon guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the mid-handicap series. So as always we'd like to welcome Dave.
Thank you very much. How are you doing?
Very good, yourself?
I'm alright, autumn's upon us, nearly winter as I can see from your snood.
Yeah, I'm wrapped up. So today what we're going to be looking at is it's getting to that time of year where we start to get different lies. It starts to change from being firm to getting some soft lies, getting some thick rough, and it's about how to play those shots. And Dave's mentioned to me, and as we've seen out on the golf course, he doesn't always know club selection, which is going to be the most consistent. And although on Arcos it's saying he's doing quite well, it's still something that trips you up sometimes. So we're going to go around the green today and we're going to play 3 of the shots that Dave finds the most difficult. So Dave, first one, what are we saying?
Heavy rough.
Heavy rough. So heavy rough just off the edge of the green?
Yeah, just off the edge of the green. You never know sort of how it's going to come out, how it's going to run, whether it's going to run.
Yeah.
And what I tend to end up doing is I either thin it and it runs forever,
yeah, or
I duff it and it goes about 2 foot.
Okay, perfect. So let's get straight into it. First one, thick rough. We'll play one to a short-sided flag and we'll play one to a flag that's around about 20 yards away. So you've got an idea if anything changes and what you do. So Dave, let's go. Okay Dave, so we've got the lie here, so we're in the thick rough. We're going to sit them down a little bit further. We can just about see the top of the ball. And we've got a relatively short-sided flag here. So we're going to get this one now. Get it really down there, so hopefully we can't really see it on camera. Hit it down, get some grass around it. And that's the one that we're probably going to get throughout the winter. Just off the green or wherever you are, your rough's going to get thick. They're not going to cut it because obviously they can't normally get on there with a mower. So we need to know how to play it. So Dave, if I ask you now, how would you be playing that? What would you go to? What's your setup? What's your kind of thought process?
I'd look for the most loft I could.
Okay, so most loft you can get, so that'd be your 60, 58?
It would, but I've left that in my bag, so it's hand wedge here. I'm not allowed, you don't allow me to bring my lob wedge out very often.
We might go and get it, but okay, so your most loft, which is, I'd say that's a tick, okay, and how are you going to play it? So you're going to play it like a bunker shot?
No, I'd just try and play it like a normal chip shot.
So play it like a normal chip shot, so do you have it back in the stands?
No, just as you taught me, just in the middle.
Okay, perfect. So Dave's going to play that in the middle. He's going to use the 56. So let's see Dave play this shot and we'll see how close he gets to the flag. So Dave's going to play this one now. So Dave's normal setup there, ball in the middle, and he's going to play it relatively like he would as a normal chip shot. Okay, so not bad.
No, I'll take that.
You'd take that, popped up a little bit, so there Dave went through the grass, so it was very shallow through the grass. It snagged a little bit, the ball then caught the top of the face, and we didn't quite get the distance. So what I normally see a lot from here is people will go low loft and try and drive it forwards, and then it's very difficult. So if we bring another one in now, pretty much the same lie, so we'll get that sat down there. And Dave's done the correct thing, so we need loft, so he's gone 56, not necessarily 60 because we're going to have to make more of a swing and more that can go wrong. So I want Dave here, same ball position, so it's nice and far, well, it's in the centre, and then from there we're going to make sure that Dave gets his weight a little bit more left. And the key thing here is, as opposed to that being shallow and cutting through the grass, because the biggest interference we've got is the grass, we're going to get Dave to work that club and start to hinge it straight away. So the club's hinging up and then it's going to go down onto the golf ball. So it's more of an up to down motion and he'll finish nice and low. So hinge it up. Good. Good. Okay.
Well, it goes too fast. That seems a really fast swing.
So that's a lot of swing for Dave there. So all Dave's going to be doing here is using the club head and the weight to drop down onto the ball. So he's not trying to hit it. No, you're not swinging and trying to hit it out. You're going to let the club work. So hinge the wrist a little bit earlier. So shaft tall, get the club working out in front of your hands, and then down. To you, Dave, like you said, it feels like a stab, but it's not. We're letting the club release, use the loft. Super, and a great shot. So we've got less interference with the grass there. We're then able to get that ball popping up and going towards the hole. So good shot. So slightly different to how Dave would play it there. So Dave was very shallow.
Yeah.
A lot of interference, and like Dave said before to me, you'd get a lot of thins, a lot of chunks, and that's because he's trying to get that club to battle through the grass. But by getting the angle of attack a little bit steeper, we're able to miss the grass, straight down into the ball, get it popping up and also going forwards. So it's not a stab, like people will say, oh, that just looks like you're stabbing the ball. Dave's letting the club head release onto the back of the ball, and that's why it's popping up. He's not jamming it into the ground, because if he did do that, he would rock it through the other side of the green, and that's what I see a lot. So one more demonstration, Dave, of a pure masterclass.
Need to move that one.
We'll move it. He's that fired up, he's going to chip in. I need to move this ball. So tall, hinged and down. Good.
Oh,
Super. So it's not a stab. You can see you're releasing the loft down there. We've not taken any divot. You see the rough looks exactly the same as we've come. So we're not taking divots, you're not stabbing into the ground, you're just letting the club release.
the greenkeeper's happy.
And the greenkeeper's not going to column it until I start cutting these trees down. Right. Next shot, Dave. So what's the next shot you struggle with? So what's
Over a bunker.
Okay, over a bunker. Interesting.
Short-sided, possibly, but
Short-sided,
Yeah.
possibly. Okay.
wrong side of a bunker. Got to get to a flag. All you can see staring at you is about 2 acres of sand.
Yep. So that's it. So most of you will probably be in the same boat as Dave. As soon as you get behind a bunker and you've got to go over, you see the bunker and all you see is sand and going in the sand and be in the sand. So we're going to have a shot now. We're going to play a 20-yard shot. So we're going to have a look at that now. So we're going to show you where we're going to be going from. And from there we're going to see what Dave does. And like I say, it's one of the shots that you struggle with. And guys, what we want you to do is be involved. So comment below what kind of shots you struggle with around the green. Dave, more than likely, might struggle with the same kind of shot. And
Some people say I struggle from middle of fairway, but you know.
I mean, Dave just struggles in general. Especially with the driver, or not so much anymore. So we're going to go behind the bunker, but comment below what shots do you want to see. We're going to do some more awkward lies and some different distances, so if you struggle mid-range 30 to 60 yards, comment below that and we'll start to look at those different ones going through the series. So here's the shot we've got. So Dave's got 3 balls there behind the bunker and we are going to go to this flag here. So you'll see it's around about a 20-25 yard shot. So Dave, what we would do first, like you would on the course, you'd come up and have a look at that landing zone. So Dave's got his 3 clubs in the hand. What clubs have you got, Dave?
I've got a 50, a 56 and me 48 degree pitching wedge.
Okay, perfect. So looking at this now, Dave, as you come up here, what are you thinking already?
I'd be thinking, well, other than thinking about all that sand that'd be in front of me, I'd be thinking if I can drop it somewhere between here and say here and let it roll out.
Okay, yep, so you've picked around about 4 yard landing zone there.
Yeah.
And let's go back down there now and see which club you're going to pick. So Dave, we're back down here now. This is the shot we're looking at. So we are going to that flag just there. Okay, so obviously we've been up there, you've picked your landing zone. So now what's your process? What are you thinking?
Well, as I said, I'm thinking of kind of dropping it 5 yards past the edge of the green.
Yep.
5 to 9 yards, so I've got a decent landing space. I watched that video when you spoke about how you would throw a ball, how you'd expect it to react.
Yep.
So I'm looking at taking my 50 degree wedge.
Okay, 50 degree, perfect. So go through your normal process, make your practice swings, and we'll see how that reacts up on the green. So 50 degree up first, here we go. So Dave's chose that, he's thought about how he would throw the ball, which I will tag the video above as you go around the green. Picture how you would throw that ball. And Dave's made a couple of practice swings there. And he comes. So a pretty good shot there by Dave. So that's gone to around about 6 feet, just past the hole. So Dave will be more than happy with that, I am sure. So let's go again, Dave. Happy with the club, or would you change?
I'd maybe think about taking the sand wedge. I think that went a bit too far, bit lower than I expected as well.
Okay, so that's it. So Dave said that he thought that one came out a little bit lower than expected, and it was a little bit on the edge for him. He wouldn't be necessarily 100% comfortable. So we switched now to the 56. So let's see how this one does. So the same practice swings. So again, pitched a little bit long there, just ran off the green, but that's also to around about 8 feet. So happier with that club, Dave?
Yeah,
perfect. Let's go one more. Okay, so Dave's sticking with the sand wedge, so he's in here now for the third shot, and this is good to do. So Dave's picked a club that he thought was right first, had a practice, wasn't too comfortable with it, so he switched loft. And you can see that one there again has gone to around about 7 feet, which is pretty good. And you see the dispersion there is very good. I'd say we've got 6, 7 and 8 feet. So the one that Dave struggles with or didn't feel as comfortable with is the closest, but when he's under pressure, when he's on the course with a card in his hand, it's probably not going to work. So the sand wedge for Dave is the one. Good stuff. Right, let's look at the third and final one. So Dave, third and final shot, what we've probably seen in the winter as well.
Yeah, tightish line.
Yeah.
Horrible little downhill shot to a short-sided flag.
Yeah.
Thinking to myself, you know, I've got two choices here. I'm either going to leave it short or it's going to roll past the flag, and I've probably got the same shot but back up the hill.
Yeah. And this is a lie we're not only getting the summer, the last few summers we've had it's burnt out, so we might get some of these lies where there's not much grass, it's quite tight, but here it's actually quite spongy, so it's something like we get in the winter.
Yeah.
When someone's walked over it or people have walked over the same point near the green and it starts to wear out. So for this, Dave, what have you gone?
I've got a pitching wedge.
Pitching wedge, okay.
But I would consider lob wedge.
Right, okay,
Sorry.
Yeah.
I know.
Sacred blood.
The problem is, whatever I do, I just think that it's going to either leave it short or it's going to go through. So I'm thinking the pitching wedge, but I've only got a yard to drop it in.
Yeah.
Or I'm thinking lob wedge, and I might be just about to make it to the green, but if I get it slightly wrong, I'm leaving it 3 foot in front of me, or at the other side of the green.
Okay, so we'll go with one with each club here. So I'm going to bring in a mystery club, or the club I think you should use. But let's go pitching wedge first. We'll then go your 60. And like Dave said there, a very valid point. When you use your pitching wedge from here, or your lob wedge even, your landing zone is very small, so you have to be ridiculously accurate and consistent to hit that. And then, because we're not landing on the green, which we know what the surface is like, we don't know how that's going to bounce as such. So even with a pitching wedge, it's going to be a little bit more direct, but it might get a kick and bounce. So play this as you would, Dave, and we'll see. So did that land where you wanted it?
It landed about 2 foot short of where I wanted it to.
Yep.
But as I say, the landing zone that I picked is so narrow that it makes it really difficult.
So Dave there, he wasn't too far away from his landing zone, a couple of feet, but you see how it bounced off. He didn't know how it was going to react, and although it was quite direct, it didn't bounce on. So let's go to your second option, Dave, which you would use if I wasn't here, which is your lob wedge.
Okay.
Don't be afraid, you can use it for now.
Use it that little, it hasn't even got the Arcos thing on the top.
It hasn't even got the Arcos on because it's banned. Perfect. So, good. So where are you going to land this then, Dave? On the green or just
I'm
short?
Thinking on the slightly darker green patch, just short of the green.
Okay, so on the fringe, he's giving himself again, not much, maybe 3 or 4 feet to land it in. And again, it's a little bit spongy, it's tight, light and spongy, so it's
not great.
Everybody's worst nightmare, to be honest. Well, the consistent pitching wedge and 60, the proximity is very next to each other.
About a foot.
So there, Dave, his contact wasn't bad,
No.
but you see how it popped up and,
And
he
it
would
rolled
need...
all the way up the face.
Rolled all the way up the face, exactly. Caught it a little bit high, popped up, didn't go as far as he wanted, and that's why it's come up short again. And from there, we know this is downhill. So now he's got a downhill tricky putt, which is on both of those. It then could run, let's say, 2 or 3, 4 feet past, and it doesn't matter how much putting and how confident Dave is with his putting, nobody wants those 3 and 4 footers time and time again when you're trying to keep a score together. So, mystery club for Dave. As we've seen on the course management videos, we've got Dave to use this a lot, and he's obviously, we saw the proximity on his last outing was a couple of feet each time. So here, we know we can get that ball rolling. Even if it hits something and kicks it off, it's not going to have as much effect because it's going more direct. So here, downhill, I will move the other ball, and we can treat this like a putter.
Yeah. Okay.
But this is guaranteeing for Dave that even if he catches it a little bit firm, it's going past the hole. And on these kinds of chips, I'd rather be past the hole because we've got an uphill putt. The likelihood of Dave being more confident of holding an uphill putt is a lot higher. If he goes past, he also sees if there's any break. As a result, he's got more chance making it coming back. So Dave, again, he's going to look at it's going to be landing anywhere in between the first couple of yards of where he is. So again, it's a little bit bigger. And
so
now
anywhere between sort of there and there-ish.
Yeah, exactly. So we've now probably doubled the size of his landing zone that he had with his pitching wedge and his sand wedge.
And it's a lot closer to me as well.
And it's a lot closer, so he's a lot more confident of hitting that. So Dave will come in here now, treat it exactly like that putter. So he's going to make a couple of strokes looking at the hole. Good. And like we say, if it goes past, we're not too worried. So pretty good, a lot closer. We've got to that 3 or 4 foot on the first try. So first try there, Dave, it's a, you know, it's a lot closer. It's 6 or 7 feet closer than his others. But if we go again now,
and it's on the green.
And it's on the green, which is a positive. So I'd say we've got about 3.5 feet there, which is not bad. Dave, we'd expect Dave to hold that with his new putter. Good, so even that, it's ran 5 or 6 feet past, but it's got an uphill putt coming back, which Dave would be more confident holding. So it's a shot that you can use in a lot of situations that most amateurs don't. You can see here, especially through the winter and even in the summer when you've got these kind of boggy lies, if we can get something going forwards, it's going to be more consistent. And like if we go back to Dave's, well, the video that Dave said he watched obviously about throwing the ball, if I asked him to throw a ball to this flag, he would more than likely try and get it running as quick as possible because he'd be able to judge that. The same principle here, if you had this line was going to this one here, whether again there's not much green to work with, we'd go the same club. So for an example, we're going to get Dave now to hit one there with a hybrid, and then we're going to get him to hit one with a 60, which is more than likely what I guess he'd use.
We would try, yeah.
He would try. Try is a big one. Nicely.
Ooh.
Right, so pretty good. It did nearly go in, and it's gone around to about 6 feet. So again, it was slowing down, so it would have been the same if it just went past. But let's go 60 now. Or is it 58 or 60?
No, it's 60.
60, perfect. So give yourself a similar lie, so give yourself a nice lie. So I see this a lot, people think I've got to carry over all that trouble, but you've got a tiny bit of green to work with. You've only got probably 2 or 3 paces, which is going to be very hard to stop the ball. A prime example there of what will happen, and Dave's accuracy there, he's nearly hit the flag twice. So the 60 is the club there, you know, send it in nice and low, very positive, hit the flag and leave it close. So you can see there, it's a tight lie, it's a lot harder for Dave to get contact. We'll ignore that it's gone to 2 feet. You can see the hybrid there was consistent, and that's a club that Dave can start to use more and more. And when you've got a practice facility or when you're out on there, make sure you try these shots, because the only time that it's in there is if you do it out on the golf course. So Dave, 3 lies there.
Yeah.
One where we've made a little bit of a change, so out of the rough we've slightly changed your technique. We've got you hinging it more, so getting a better angle of attack to pop the ball up. Looks like a stab, but it's using the loft and getting the ball coming up and going forwards, less interference with the grass. Second chip shot over the bunker, a great point from Dave. Imagine what you would do throwing the ball, and when you get chance, think about what flight you would throw it.
Too low at first, too low.
Correct, and Dave then chose a club that actually came out a little bit lower than what he was actually picturing in his head for throwing. So he changed to the sand wedge. It was a lot more positive, and although the other club went closer, his percentages with that were a lot higher with the sand wedge. And then finally, we've shown you how on a downhill lie, a tight lie, a spongy lie, one that we're going to get a lot through the winter, how the hybrid can come in there. It stops the Damien Duffs. It gets rid of the thins that we often see, and don't be afraid to go past the flag. Don't try and get too delicate and put too much pressure on yourself. So Dave, that's 3 lies. Obviously we know there's a lot more lies that we need to cover, and we see different parts of the golf course. But as we've said, comment below guys, any ones that you struggle with, any certain lies, whether it is tighter lies over different yardages, if it's anything, you know, longer. If it's an uphill lie, downhill lie, comment below. We're going to be covering those throughout the series, but guys, hopefully you're enjoying the series. Well, we are anyway, even in the rain. We're living the dream in the rain, to be fair.
It's coming down, just like Sheffield United's chances.
Yeah, it's not looking great for Sheffield United. But Arsenal, although they lost to Liverpool, actually no, that was a while ago. Well, Arsenal are getting there, slowly but surely. So, we're going to get inside. We're going to have a nice beverage.
Might be a coffee, might not.
Could be a coffee, more than likely not. As for now guys, we'll see you next week.
See you soon.